Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review of another Eddie Murphy film. And this has been a hard review to do. I've had to redo it a few times because Trading Places, I'll flat out say it. I think it's okay, but I didn't want to admit it, but I got to. I think it's overrated. I know it's a controversial opinion because anytime someone mentions their favorite Eddie Murphy films, anytime there's a documentary, I just saw one the other day, Eddie Murphy documentary. This always gets brought up as one of the all-time classics, as one of the best films he's done. 48 Hours, I agree. Beverly Hills Cop, I agree. I love his stand-up by Raw. Very fun one. But this one, someone please tell me why this one is so much better than The Golden Child, which I love so much that someone actually sent me a poster because I knew how much I was a big fan of that film. I mean, Golden Child gets hated on all the time, gets shit on all the time, gets ignored all the time, gets like a 5.9, yet this has a 7.5 on IMDb, even higher than 48 Hours. A 7.5? I don't get it. I don't get why this film is so much better than The Golden Child or Metro, which is a very underrated Eddie Murphy film. This film I don't think is as funny as people make it out to be. And granted, this film is a classic compared to something like this or Norbit, which I think is his worst film. Or it's a classic compared to Holy Man, also known as Holy Shit, or Beverly Hills Cop 3, or Meet Dave, or this pile of shit. I'll give you that. Eddie Murphy has some good fun moments in it, like when he's like, "You want some beef jerky?" Or when he's in jail and he's saying, "I'm a karate man. See, I'm not bruising because a karate man bruises on the inside." Or when he finally gets into the rich club, he keeps stealing stuff, even though they're like, "This is yours." Okay, I get it. He keeps stealing stuff. Eddie Murphy has that fire and energy, and he's fun. Jamie Lee Curtis as this prostitute, but she's got a head on her shoulders. She's smart. She's capable. She's independent. Jamie Lee Curtis does a really good job. And as Jamie Kennedy said in Stream, she showed her tits when she went legit. So that was nice too. But Jamie Lee Curtis does a wonderful job. I like Ralph Bellamy and Don Amici. Don Amici I remember from Harry and the Hendersons and Cocoon. Uh, as the two villains, you have Denholm Elliott, Marcus Brody from the first three Indiana Jones films. Well, he was in the first one and Last Crusade, I should say. For those two, he does a good job as the butler. James Belushi makes a little appearance, but the film's too long, in my opinion. It's almost 2 hours long. Compare that to like Golden Child. That's like 93 minutes long. This is 116 minutes long. And I feel the running time. It did not need to be that long, especially, and this is a big one, the last 40 minutes of this film, there's barely any laughs. The only laugh I got of the last 40 minutes of this film is when the characters are pretending to be other people on a train. They're talking to Paul Gleason, who was in Die Hard. He was the principal in the Breakfast Club, because they're trying to get this briefcase. Paul Gleason is, so they pretend to be other people on this train. And Eddie Murphy goes, "You want some beef jerky?" That's the only laugh I got in the last 40 minutes. Because, okay, again, for people who think this is so much better than The Golden Child and Metro, another 48 Hours, which I think is a fun sequel, The Distinguished Gentleman, which I like more than this, that's fine. I know I'm alone in this. It's a controversial opinion. That's why I redid this review so many times. But I gotta be honest. If you're not honest, what's the point? The last 40 minutes of this film, what do you have? You have a gorilla looking like he's going to ass rape Paul Gleason, who's in a gorilla suit. The reason he's in a gorilla suit is because the characters who pretend to be other people, which weren't funny, was Jamie Lee Curtis trying pretend to be Inga from Sweden. Was that really funny? Denholm Elliott pretending to be a drunk, was that really funny? Dan Aykroyd in blackface, was that really funny? And I'm not even going to say, oh, I'm offended. I'm going to say, if I want to see a white guy in blackface, watch Stir Crazy, not Stir Crazy, Silver Streak with Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor. That was funnier because it was Richard Pryor trying to teach Gene Wilder how to be black. And Richard Pryor's reactions, and Gene Wilder was more likable than Dan Aykroyd in this film, which I'll get to. But then, was that really funny? I don't think so. And Paul Gleason knows something's up. Stop trying to pretend to be these characters. Let's go. And the train has a costume party. And James Belushi, he's in there as a guy in a gorilla suit. And he comes in. He doesn't know what's going on. Hey, come on, it's a party. Paul Gleason hits Belushi, a gorilla who's on the train, in a cage, sees it, thinks Paul Gleason hit a real gorilla, so he knocks out Paul Gleason. The other characters dress up Paul Gleason in his gorilla suit, put him in the cage. The owners of the cage are so stupid they don't realize, wait a minute, we only had one, now there's two. And even later on, when it's being put on a ship, the people are so stupid they can't notice this guy's in an obvious gorilla suit. And the whole joke is that this gorilla is going to put his banana up Paul Gleason's tailpipe. But yet people say the golden child is silly and stupid. You have a gorilla ready to put his banana in a tailpipe. And it's called rape. And then what after that? It's the stock market. I don't give a fuck about the stock market. I did. That's not really the gist of it. It's these two. I didn't even talk about the plot. But most people who see this video know the plot, but just in case. Dan Aykroyd is a rich prick. Eddie Murphy is a homeless guy who is a con artist. He pretends to have no legs, and the cops find him, pick him up, he has legs. Dan Aykroyd gets Eddie Murphy arrested. These two guys are rich, evil fucks who decide to make a bet for $1. What makes a person? Hereditary or environment? So let's fire Dan Aykroyd, make him lose all his money, make him lose his job, plant evidence on him to get him arrested, make people think he was a drug dealer, and make him lose his fiance. And so later on he meets Jamie Lee Curtis, who's going to help him out. Just Dan Aykroyd promises he'll give her money. Meanwhile, Eddie Murphy, they give him money and nice suits and a job. And at the end, they find out what's going on. They want to get revenge on these guys by making these guys broke and making themselves rich. But I don't give a fuck about the stock market. I'm not Gordon Gekko. I'm sorry, I'm not Gordon fucking Gekko. It ain't fucking Wall Street. I don't even like Wall Street with Michael Douglas. There's other Michael Douglas films I prefer. Falling Down, Black Rain, The Game, even Disclosure. I'd rather watch. I'm not a fan of, the stock market stuff, I was always confused by it. They try to explain this like 3 times in the film. I'm still confused by it. So the last 40 minutes of this, comedy classic that gets a 7.5 and gets the highest of the highest praise, yeah, compared to fucking Holy Man and Meet Dave and Imagine That, I can agree. But compared to other films, like, okay, this was going to be a Gene Wilder, Richard Pryor film. Then Richard Pryor left. He probably did films like Superman 3 and other stuff. Gene Wilder was on board, but then Eddie Murphy's like, I don't want to work with Gene Wilder because I don't want to feel like I'm replacing Richard Pryor. So then they got Dan Aykroyd because John Landis had worked with Dan Aykroyd on the Blues Brothers. And real quickly, John Landis, I would say I like Animal House better than this. I would say I liked American Wolf in London better than this. The Blues Brothers better than this. I did a Sylvester Stallone marathon where I reviewed all of his movies, and I reviewed Oscar, which John Landis directed. I like Oscar. I think Oscar is a bit underrated. I'd get more laughs out of Oscar than I did this. I mean, yeah, it's better than Blues Brothers 2000. It's better than The Stupids. It's definitely better than Beverly Hills Cop 3. Susan's Plan, I didn't see, but I know my friend Mike OCP saw that. Coming to America, I would say, is better than this. So John Landis, I mean, this is one of, I don't think this is one of his best films. It's not one of his worst. Again, it's okay. I think it's okay though. Maybe if it was Gene Wilder, Richard Pryor, maybe it would have worked better. Maybe because of the writing, maybe because of the pacing, maybe because it's not. I can't think of that many memorable bits of humor other than a few moments of Eddie Murphy. Dan Aykroyd, I don't mind Dan Aykroyd in the Ghostbusters films. Nothing But Trouble, which I enjoy. I reviewed that film. I think it's a bit underrated. He played the villain. I like Nothing But Trouble. But here, the purpose of the film, he's an uptight prick. But even by the end of the film, I don't like his character. I know he's supposed to have a change of heart. I still don't like his character. Dan Aykroyd, I think, is a pretty unlikable character. And by the end of it, I still don't give a shit about him. I don't give a shit that he gets, Jamie Lee Curtis. I just, maybe, I don't know, maybe if it was Gene Wilder, again, maybe if it was written better, maybe if it was a different actor, I don't know. I mean, even Silver Streak, I have issues because the movie doesn't really come alive until Richard Pryor comes in, which is like halfway through. But I would still say I put Silver Streak above this because I got more laughs. Again, they both have a white guy in blackface, and Gene Wilder seeing Richard Pryor was funnier than in this one. And weirdly enough, that also had him on a train. And this has a scene on a train. Now that I think about, it, huh? But like, okay, Gene Wilder, Richard Pryor, See No Evil, Hear No Evil. I love. It's one of my favorite '80s comedies. I've reviewed that film more than once on this channel. That's my favorite Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder film. I think that's 10 times funnier than this. But that's a movie that gets shit on. That's what I'm talking about. See No Evil, Hear No Evil with Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder gets shit on. I think it's funnier than this. Golden Child, Metro. I think there are much funnier comedies that get shit on, and this gets the classic pass. And again, I would love someone in the comments to specifically tell me why this is better than See No Evil, Hear No Evil, Golden Child, Metro. Comedy is subjective. I get that. But I think there are much funnier comedies. And again, there are much worse movies, but I think there are much better movies too. And also the characters, they change so quickly that it's a bit weird. Like Dan Aykroyd, he changes so quickly to becoming a guy in a dirty Santa suit ready to kill himself. It's too quickly. I mean, you got Jamie Lee Curtis, beautiful titty hooker who's helping you out and being nice to you, letting you live with her, and in like a week, you're ready to kill yourself. And then on the flip side, Eddie Murphy, it's what, like a couple days, maybe even a day or two. You become rich, you go into this bar, flashing money, you purposely go there to bring these women back to your home, and literally, all that happens when you bring all these women, want to have a party, you see a cigarette on the floor, who's not using a coaster, and then when a woman comes, here's my titties, let's fuck, you're like, everyone leave. Sorry, everyone leave. And I'm thinking, why? Where did that come from? Like this 180 change came out of nowhere. You went there purposely to a bar to fuck and to get what, you talked to only the women to come back. Now, because someone put a cigarette on the floor and a coaster wasn't used, all of a sudden, everyone leave. Nope, I don't want to fuck. I don't want. Again, yeah, it's a comedy. You shouldn't care. But consider this one of the all-time classics. 7.5 on IMDb. 7.5. Why? People love Wall Street. They love the gorilla ready to put a banana in the tailpipe. They like gorilla rape. What is it? Again, I'm out of the loop. And that's the thing, like, when I did these reviews before, I kept wanting to be more kind. No, this is not a rant, this is a review. But I'm like, no, I gotta be honest. I had not seen this film in a while, but watch it again. I was surprised how little I laughed during it. There's, again, a couple fun moments with Eddie Murphy. But I get more funnier moments from Eddie and the Distinguished Gentleman. I get more laughs from Eddie and Beverly Hills Cop 2, which is a sequel that got shit on, which has a lower rating than this. Hell, when I saw that documentary on Eddie Murphy, they completely bypassed Beverly Hills Cop 2, let alone Metro, let alone Golden Child. But yet, I think that's what I'm coming from. I think Beverly Hills Cop 2 is better. I think Another 48 Hours is better. Yes, I think The Golden Child, which is my personal favorite Eddie film, is better. I think Metro is better. Yeah, there are much worse ones, but I think there are much better ones, and this gets the pass. I would love to know why. I think Dan Aykroyd's character is not that likable. At the beginning, it made sense, but even throughout and by the end, I still don't really care for his character. I did the pacing. It's almost 2 hours long, and it feels it. The music is not bad. It's Elmer Bernstein who did Ghostbusters, but I think his music in Ghostbusters was better. The I'm trying to think what the hell else happens. Why am I drawing a blank now? But again, I know people disagree, and that's fine. Teach their own. But how many comedy classics are there when I could think of like one funny bit I liked, and it's the last 40 minutes of the film? You know? So I just be repeating myself. Long story short, I like most of the actors. Eddie, Jamie, these two villains, Denholm Elliott. Eddie has a couple funny bits. But that's it. The characters change too quickly into their other persona because it's like Christmas time, and then by the end of the film it's New Year's. So this is like the span of a week or so. And again, Eddie is too quickly becoming this genius stock market guy, and oh, I don't want to party, and like, and then Dan, he moves too quickly to becoming a guy who's ready to commit suicide. The gorilla stuff I didn't find funny, thought it was silly and stupid. The stock market was a boring ending because I didn't give a shit, and plus I'm so confused by it. It's like a comedy about arithmetic or trigonometry, and I'm just watching an ending where people try to do trigonometry. I'm like, this is all Greek to me, and I only I only use that as classic. And that's another thing. This is one of the few Eddie Murphy films that actually has a Blu-ray. I think like 48 Hours has a Blu-ray. I think the first Beverly Hills Cop has a Blu-ray in the U.S. I have a Blu-ray set from someone was nice enough to send me that has Beverly Hills Cop 2 on Blu-ray. But like, Metro isn't on Blu-ray. The Golden Child doesn't have a Blu-ray anywhere in the world. I don't even think Another 48 Hours has a Blu-ray. But this film does because it's an all-time classic. I'm sorry, I disagree. I do think it's an overrated film. I don't think it's as funny as people make it out to be. If you think I'm wrong, that's fine. Please feel free to mention in the comments as to why it's an all-time classic, because I don't get it. I'll I'll stick with The Golden Child. I'll stick with Beverly Hills Cop 2. Maybe people haven't seen it in a while, and if you go back and watch it, maybe I don't know. There's Betty G. Wilder, Richard Pryor films I'd rather watch. Stir Crazy, which even that had an unfunny third act, but I got more laughs on the first two-thirds of the film, and Gene Wilder was a much more likable character than Dan Aykroyd, so I think Stir Crazy is better. Silver Streak, I think, is better. See No Evil, Hear No Evil, I absolutely love. Jumpin' Jack Flash with Whoopi Goldberg, that's a film that gets shit on and crapped on by critics, by people, and I think Jumpin' Jack Flash is a great movie and a lot funnier than this. So again, that's where I'm coming from. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. I know this is going to be a very unpopular opinion, but it's my opinion, and oh well. Thanks for watching. See you guys later. Bye bye.